During his mission, Lin Yunxi, a rescue agent from Huaxia, crashed a plane and traveled with a modern high-tech library to the mysterious Dongsheng Kingdom. He did not use his body to revive his life. Is she still her? This outfit saved the millennium-old Iron Tree Abstinence Prince, who was both talented and beautiful. Murong Hao, do you want me tonight? No, it won't be until the wedding ceremony. Then don't blame me for using too many methods to seduce. This book is suitable for readers who want to be sweet, pampered, seduced, and desired. If you want to see how modern female agents captured ancient abstinence princes, add a bookshelf and don't regret it. Chapter 1. Air Crash and Distress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah. It hurts. Why is it so painful? Especially the waist and back. Lin Yunxi slowly opened his eyes. Realizing she was still alive, she suddenly sat up and accidentally pulled on the pain in her waist. Ah. What's going on? I looked down at myself and then at the surroundings. I found myself sitting on a grassy field surrounded by trees, clearly a dense forest. Looking at my clothes, they were the black jeans and leather jacket I wore on the plane from China to Italy this morning. She remembers when the plane was flying for an hour and encountered strong airflow. After a brief jolt, the plane headed straight towards the ground. At the last moment, she shouted, "Tech Library, save me." Did the technology library save me? Lin Yunxi muttered to himself, wondering. How could anyone survive an airplane explosion in temperatures of thousands of degrees? This is not scientific. Just thought about it, she wanted to make sure that the technology library she brought to my country for upgrading was intact. Then activate the technology library with your mind. Dee. The technology library is starting up normally. How can this technology library still be used? Dr. Li is really impressive, and the quality of the technology library he has developed is also amazing. Before Lin Yunxi could sort out his thoughts, he suddenly heard bursts of hurried footsteps. Don't let him run away. He was poisoned by us, and today is his deadline. Lin Yunxi hid behind a big tree, watching a group of black-clothed men chasing a man who was hit by an arrow. The man was 8 feet tall and had an extraordinary aura. His face was as handsome as an artwork in the hands of a master sculptor, with a sharp and cold appearance. He was also dressed in black, but he was hit by an arrow in the opposite direction on his left chest. He held the sword in one hand and supported the wound in the other. Isn't this Dr. Li? Why is he here? Playing script killing. Lin Yunxi became increasingly puzzled. Shouldn't Dr. Li be in the country of Italy? Is this the country of Mai? Who are you and why are you chasing me? The man who was shot with an arrow asked coldly. You're almost dead, it's okay to tell you. We're from the Gold and Silver Pavilion, and we just took people's money and were entrusted to kill you. But your life is really valuable, 10,000 taels of gold, ha ha ha. Before he could finish speaking, the black-clothed man led by him flew like a dragon and drew his long sword to stab the man. The man in the middle of the arrow dodged the black-clothed man's sword and quickly drew his own sword to engage in a duel with the black-clothed man. He used his sword to draw various moves and made a jump. The black-clothed man quickly and fiercely used his sword to make a cut in the man's abdomen. The man in the middle of the arrow felt pain and jumped forward, cutting the black-clothed man's arm with his backhand. Poisoned, it's still so severe. Brothers, shoot arrows. More than 10 black-clothed men behind heard the order and pulled their bows together to shoot arrows. More than 10 arrows were fired at the same time. The man who hit the arrow used his sword to strike various moves, blocking many arrows. However, one arrow still hit his right chest. Are you really killing someone? Are you not playing murder in a script? Is it a deadly rhythm? Lin Yunxi was shocked. With a flash, Lin Yunxi jumped up to the man who was shot by the arrow and faced the group of black-clad assassins, saying, Isn't it shameless for so many of you to fight each other? The man in black, who had just scratched his arm, looked at Lin Yunxi with disdainful eyes. His tall and tight figure, tight leather jacket, outlined the woman's full chest. His black hair was like lacquer, his skin was like jade, and his deep and large eyes were exceptionally agile and lively, like a lotus flower in bud, beautiful but not demonic. There was a hint of aloofness between his eyebrows and eyes. The man in black supported the wound on his arm with his hand and shouted angrily. "What kind of person are you? If you don't want to die, step aside and I'll make you die more happily later." Lin Yunxi looked at the leader in black and shouted loudly. "Leave him behind and spare your life, otherwise I'll send you to see the king of hell today." Lin Yunxi turned to look at the man who had hit the arrow and asked, "Can you still hold on? Let me borrow your sword." "Take it." A cold voice sounded as he handed the sword to Lin Yunxi. With a flying leap, Lin Yunxi picked up his long sword and began to fight against the leader in black. Jokingly, when she served in the special agent camp, she won the first place in the Chinese martial arts swordsmanship competition. This scumbag was really no match for her. In less than a quarter of an hour, the leader of the black-clothed man couldn't keep up with her rhythm. This woman's swordsmanship was unique, and her speed was unprecedented for an experienced assassin like him. In this 15-minute fight, he was cut several times on his body, and the woman's body was still clean without any wounds. The people in black below saw this posture and rushed forward to join their battle. Lin Yunxi didn't like to fight either, so he jumped up to the man with the arrow and said, "Can you run?" Lin Yunxi pulled the man with an arrow while using his mind to take out a smoke bomb from the technology library and threw it at the black-clad assassins. Bomb! The smoke bomb exploded, and a large amount of smoke filled the forest. The black-clothed man's vision was obstructed, and the smoke bomb had tear gas, making it impossible to open his eyes. In a moment, it made Lin Yunxi and the others run away. Lin Yunxi supported the man who had been hit by the arrow and ran forward. The man was seriously injured, with black blood flowing from the 2 arrow wounds and blood of the same color coming from the opening in his abdomen. "Dr. Li, who have you offended? Both the arrow and sword are poisonous. But don't worry, with me around, I can save you." The man with the arrow looked at her with a puzzled expression. "Dr. Li. Did this woman mistake someone? Besides, with such a serious injury, the intestines in his abdomen can be seen with the naked eye and he has been poisoned. Murong Hao has lived for 25 years and has never encountered it before. Does this woman say she can be saved?" Both of them ran forward with their minds full of confusion, running until they reached the edge of a cliff where there was no way to escape, and the sound of hooves from behind also followed. Lin Yunxi thought to himself, "What is this plot? I am a high-intelligence special agent from Huaxia, and today I want to jump off a cliff." She looked down at the cliff, where trees were overgrown and smoke was swirling. It was bottomless and she didn't know how deep the cliff was. A clever one, Lin Yunxi kicked a stone towards the cliff. She wanted to hear how long it took for the stone to reach the bottom of the cliff, in order to calculate the depth of the cliff and the length of the rescue rope. However, as time passed by, there was no sound of the stone falling to the bottom of the cliff. At the same time, the pursuing assassins slowly approached them. Lin Yunxi was speechless. He didn't die in the plane crash, but instead had to die to save people. Do we really have to explain it here today? Chapter 2. How can we still travel like this? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The black-clothed man led by Lin Yunxi looked at them and proudly said, "Don't run anymore, today is your deadline." After speaking, he kept riding his horse and forced Lin Yunxi and the others to the edge of the cliff. Lin Yunxi said to the man who was shot with an arrow, "Hold on to me, I guarantee you won't die. You need to use all your strength to hold on to me. I see how you run and fly down, haha." The man in black laughed wildly. Lin Yunxi roared angrily, "Since you don't give us a way out, don't even think about living." The smoke bomb just now was just an appetizer. Now I'll send you to see the King of Hell. She immediately took out 2 hand grenades, a high-tech mountaineering suspension rope, and a belt from the technology library with her mind. The grenade was thrown towards the assassin ahead. Boom! The grenade exploded instantly, flying over a dozen assassins and horses. At that moment, Lin Yunxi used high-tech mountaineering suspension ropes to tie himself and the man who was hit by an arrow together with a suspension rope belt. Then, one end of the suspension rope was tightly fastened to a rock wall, and the two of them fell rapidly like bungee jumping. Upon seeing this scene, Murong Hao looked at the woman he was hugging tightly and frowned slightly, thinking, "What kind of person is this woman, with excellent martial arts skills and various explosive weapons, yet so bold as to lead her to jump off a cliff?" Lin Yunxi was unclear about the man's thoughts. As he approached the bottom of the cliff, he used his mind to fix the other end of the suspension rope to a huge rock at the bottom of the cliff. So, the two slowly slid to the bottom of the cliff without getting hurt. Lin Yunxi used his mind to put away the suspension rope and belt, then looked at the man she saved and said, "Can you still persist? Let's find a place to stay and first treat your wound and detoxify." Another brief answer. "Come on, I'll help you cut off the 2 arrows first, and then I'll pull the arrows for you when we reach the place where we can treat you." After speaking, Lin Yunxi took out pliers from his leather jacket pocket and forcefully cut the 2 long arrows short to help him walk. After finishing these tasks, Lin Yunxi helped the man search for a place to rest. Due to poisoning and severe injuries, the man's lips began to turn black and his strength decreased. He supported Lin Yunxi's shoulder even harder. Lin Yunxi felt the pressure he was putting on himself and knew that he was on the verge of collapse. If he couldn't find a place to rest, the man was afraid of fainting. They walked for about half an hour and saw a small wooden courtyard deep in the forest. Lin Yunxi knocked on the door and shouted loudly, "Is anyone there?" After waiting for a while, no one answered. She helped the man push the door hard and found that it was not locked, so she entered the courtyard. The courtyard is not large, and as soon as you enter it, there is a courtyard. In the middle of the courtyard, there is a stone table and 2 stone benches, and there is also a water well next to it. Further inside, there is a main house, which only has 1 bed. There is a kitchen and a bathhouse next to each other, and the bathhouse is connected to the thatched cottage. The courtyard was covered in ash, and the walls were covered in spider webs. It was clear from a glance that this house had not been inhabited for a long time. Lin Yunxi helped Murong Hao to the main room, which had only 1 bed. Lin Yunxi placed him at the end of the bed and leaned against it. After briefly cleaning up the dust on the bed, he helped Murong Hao lie down. "Your injury and poison can't wait any longer, surgery is about to be performed." After speaking, Lin Yunxi took out all the medical equipment and drugs used for surgery from the technology library with his mind on the side. This high-tech intelligent technology library was obtained by Lin Yunxi while participating in special agent missions in Huaxia. The technology library is very small and can be implanted into the skin of the human body without being discovered. Currently, the functions in the technology library are relatively simple, and it can store various items needed by agents for each mission. For example, various emergency medical equipment and drugs can be stored during medical missions, special agent weapons frequently used by various agents during war missions, and of course, daily supplies for agents can also be stored. The technology library has a large capacity, and Lin Yunxi often performs tasks around the world. In addition to storing various items for tasks, she also stores a lot of her own personal belongings. After all the surgical instruments and medicine were ready, Lin Yunxi reached out to take off the man's coat. "What are you doing?" Murong Hao asked coldly. "I will perform the surgery for you, but the prerequisite is to take off your coat first, as there will be bacteria." Lin Yunxi couldn't help but take off Murong Hao's outer and inner clothes as he spoke, revealing the area of his wound. Murong Hao lived for 25 years and never touched a woman. Even if he was injured, the doctors who treated him were always male medical officials. This woman even took off his clothes. Don't procrastinate anymore, your injury isn't too serious, but the wound is poisonous. At this moment, Murong Hao's wound was getting more and more painful, and his whole body was sweating. He looked at the woman coldly, and his desire to survive didn't make him think too much. He had to obediently let the woman treat him. First, treat the abdominal wound. Lin Yunxi pulled open Murong Hao's hand, tightly gripping the abdominal wound, only to see that her entire hand was infected with black blood. She used a small container to collect this blood and put it into the analyzer in the technology library to analyze the composition of the poison, which was easy to detoxify. After finishing these, Lin Yunxi took out a silver needle and injected it into Murong Hao's abdomen to stop the bleeding. Then take out the anesthesia needle and first puncture Murong Hao's abdomen for local anesthesia, and finally prepare disinfected iodine in suture needle and thread. After a burn of incense, Lin Yunxi gently asked, "Do I still feel pain while pressing on this abdominal position now?" Murong Hao noticed that his abdomen, which had just been in excruciating pain, was no longer painful no matter how much he pressed the woman. He carefully asked, "What did you use? Why doesn't it hurt at all?" "Anesthetics." Lin Yunxi looked at the same face as Dr. Li, more puzzled. "You don't know about anesthetics?" Murong Hao shook his head and said, "I don't know." "Dr. Li, are you sure you don't know about anesthetics?" "Dr. Li, did you mistake the person?" Murong Hao looked at her in confusion. "Wrong person. How can there be someone who looks exactly the same? Or are you Dr. Li's twin brother? I grew up with him, and didn't hear him say he had brothers. I have brothers and sisters, but none of them look exactly like me." Lin Yunxi, a highly intelligent agent, doesn't have enough intelligence now. Shouldn't everyone know about anesthesia? When it comes to the people I just met, they were all ancient costumes and headgear. She could no longer calm down and asked, "Handsome guy, let me ask you, what dynasty, country, or year is this?" Upon hearing her question, Murong Hao was momentarily stunned. Where did this woman come from? This question. However, he still replied, "This is Dongsheng Kingdom. I don't know the year you mentioned, but now it is the year 203 of the first year of the Xingli era. Dongsheng Kingdom. Lin Yunxi. I went to college at the age of 12, attended a graduate youth class at the age of 16, graduated at the age of 18, and joined the best public hospital in the country. In the same year, I joined the elite youth of the Senior Rescue Special Forces, and I know history very well. What is Dongsheng country? Have you crossed the history of the sandwich layer space? This is not scientific, right? Also, isn't time travel all about borrowing corpses to resurrect souls, and wearing them onto the daughter of a certain prime minister or a grand tutor? Lin Yunxi quickly avoided Murong Hao's gaze and took out his makeup mirror from the technology library to examine himself. His face was still the same as before, the same. Can we still travel like this? Chapter 3. Treatment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Yunxi's face was full of confusion. Isn't time travel something that only exists in novels? Unexpectedly happen to oneself. If you can go back, make sure to buy lottery tickets. She still didn't give up. She looked at the man in front of her. His face was exactly the same as Dr. Li's. Could he also come from across? Hey handsome guy, have you ever heard this poem, The bright moonlight in front of the bed, suspected frost on the ground? Looking up, I find the moon bright bowing, in homesickness I'm drowned. Did you write this poem? Good poem. It portrays the moon in such an artistic conception, and also portrays the feeling of homesickness and desolation. Big brother, have you never heard of such a famous poem as Silent Night Thoughts? No. Okay, Lin Yunxi's heart is pounding. He's really not Dr. Li, he's from this era. I thought we could study how to go home together, but let's give up and find our own way home. Forget it, let's not talk about this for now. I'll perform the surgery for you. If you keep dragging on, you'll be dead. After confirming that the anesthetic was effective, Lin Yunxi put on surgical gloves and began examining Murong Hao's abdominal condition to see if there was any damage to the internal organs. After a thorough examination, it was found that there were no issues with the internal organs, so the suture surgery began. The blade is still very deep and toxic. Lin Yunxi picked up iodine to thoroughly disinfect the wound and began suturing. Every stitch was like sewing clothes, which surprised Murong Hao. Murong Hao has fought battles of all sizes and has seen countless wounded soldiers. Many soldiers have died in such injuries that cannot be treated. If there were such doctors, not so many people would have died. Murong Hao thought, his deep gaze earnestly fixed on the woman in front of him. Faced with such wounds, she was serious, professional, and meticulous. She had a lot of sweat beads on her forehead, probably due to excessive concentration, and coupled with this big summer, her clothes were soaked through. After about half an hour, the abdominal wound was sewn up. Lin Yunxi earnestly advised, there is no problem with the abdomen at the moment. You need to rest well these days and not move around. If you pull it, it will not heal the wound. Lin Yunxi instructed and looked at the 2 arrows on his chest. Can I sit up and draw an arrow for you now? After Murong Hao gave a cold answer, Lin Yunxi helped him sit up. Lin Yunxi took out the silver needle again, found the acupoint on his chest, and carefully inserted it to prevent massive bleeding. It's starting. Before she could finish speaking, an arrow was pulled out. As the arrow came out, there was still a lot of black blood. Lin Yunxi immediately disinfected and drugged the wound, and then slowly tied it with the prepared bandage. The straps should be tied from the front to the back, and Lin Yunxi slowly approached Murong Hao. Approaching, Murong Hao could smell the faint fragrance of orchids on the woman's body, and her tense body stretched out, feeling an indescribable sense of security in her heart. He has been stationed at the border all year round. Although he is only 25 years old, he has fought countless wars. His constant vigilance and nervousness have kept his body in a tense state, to the point where he doesn't know how to soothe it. Now, smelling the fragrance of orchids on this woman gives off an inexplicable sense of comfort. Lin Yunxi didn't notice his expression at this moment. Using the same method, he drew another arrow and carefully tied the bandage after applying medicine. Murong Hao kept staring at her face. The woman did not apply any makeup, but her color was like the morning glow reflecting snow. Her deep black eyes were full of charming colors, and her tall nose bridge and stunning lip shape were all showcasing elegance and dignity. Even in the palace and various aristocratic families, he rarely encountered such a stunning beauty that captivated him. Lin Yunxi didn't know that when she tied the bandage for this man, he thought so much and finished his work before saying, "The wounds have all been treated. You should lie down first and prepare some antibiotics for you, otherwise you should have a fever tonight." Antibiotics. Murong Hao frowned and said in confusion. It's a medicine to prevent wound inflammation, in short, it's a good medicine. Lin Yunxi didn't say much and slowly helped Murong Hao lie down, avoiding his gaze. He took out a hanging bottle filled with antibiotics from the technology library and began giving him a hanging needle. Murong Hao watched as she held a slender needle aimed at the blood vessels on her arm and cautiously asked, "What is this?" Watching the drop by drop of the medicine on the hanging needle, Murong Hao was curious and looked at her with a puzzled expression on his face. Lin Yunxi seemed to see his guard and said seriously, "I told you I don't understand. Don't worry, I won't harm you. Lie down well, all for the sake of saving you. I don't know if there will be any more of these medicines in the future. It's agreed that your diagnosis fee cannot be reduced. You probably don't have these medicines with you." "Don't worry," he nodded. "That's good, you take a break first. I'll study your poison and detoxify you later." Don't worry about sleeping, those bad people were all killed by my explosion. There's not much we can find so quickly now, so we're not afraid to find them. She comforted him, hoping he could have a good night's sleep and recover from his injuries faster. With her words, Murong Hao was very weak at the moment and quickly fell asleep. Lin Yunxi used his mind to take out the blood sample that had been put into the instrument for testing before, and looked at the result. He was startled to see that it was a 7-day scatter. She is not unfamiliar with the 7-day powder. Her major in university was clinical medicine of traditional Chinese and Western medicine. The professor would show them many ancient books about ancient Chinese medicine. She remembers very well that these 7-day powder were made up of multiple toxic substances such as arsenic, mercury, and poison, which were extremely expensive in ancient times. If she was poisoned by this poison, she would undoubtedly die within 7 days if she could not detoxify it. What kind of person is this handsome guy? Someone used such expensive poison to poison him. It seems that he is not an ordinary person. However, this poison is not an incurable poison with her. Her graduate major is in biological virology, which is not a difficult problem for her. After understanding the poison, she began to observe the room where they were located, preparing some water and food. Take a look at the well in the courtyard, check the water quality with instruments, and find that the water is really high-quality mineral water. Rest assured, there is no need to worry about water. She thought that the man would wake up and want to drink water soon, so she walked to the kitchen and saw that there were no cooking utensils in the kitchen, only a pile of firewood. But this won't be difficult for her. There is a complete set of stainless steel cookware in the technology library, all of which are prepared for her various tasks. She is a foodie, no matter what task she takes, as long as she has no conditions to eat, she can use these cookware to make various delicacies. She started cleaning the kitchen and knew that she had just arrived in this unknown world and met a patient. This small house should be living for a while, and eating well is the way. Pulu, Pulu. The water will boil soon. At this moment, Murong Hao also heard the sound and suddenly woke up. Chapter 4. Curious Baby. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Upon hearing Murong Hao wake up, Lin Yunxi came to his bed with water and antidote. Wake up, come drink some water and take the antidote. Your poison is 7-day powder. I have researched the antidote, but I don't know who you are. The other party is willing to spend so much money to kill you. 7-day dispersion. Yes, if this poison doesn't detoxify within 7 days, you'll go see the King of Hell. Can you solve it? Of course, but remember to add this diagnosis fee. If you can detoxify me, the diagnosis fee will not be less than yours. Murong Hao's face was covered in black lines. He had never seen such a doctor before, who would speak up and ask for medical fees. I can rest assured with your words. These are 3 detoxification pills, 1 pill a day, and they will detoxify in 3 days. After speaking, Lin Yunxi handed him a water glass. Murong Hao looked at the stainless steel cup in Lin Yunxi's hand and asked in confusion, where did this cup come from? Don't worry, I'm a doctor with a conscience. I won't poison you. Lin Yunxi didn't know why Murong Hao asked about the cup, and answered absent-mindedly. Do you all use cups like this? Have you never seen such a cup before? That's it, I don't remember, it's from ancient times. There's no such thing as stainless steel, but I don't know what cup utensils they use now, pottery cups. A porcelain cup. Glass. After dealing with this patient, she will go out and see what kind of civilization this is, but for now, take care of the things in front of her. Murong Hao said, I haven't seen it before. What material is this? It's quite complicated to say, I'll tell you how when you get better. She didn't want to tell him where she came from in the future, cured the patient, and quickly slapped her butt and left. Murong Hao looked at the stainless steel cup in his hand, lost in thought, and took a detoxification pill and took it with water. Are you still tired? If you're tired, go to sleep for a while. This will help the wound heal quickly. You're likely to have a fever tonight, so it's good to rest more now. Okay. After Lin Yunxi helped him lie down, he began to cook in the kitchen. The man has just had an operation on his abdomen. Today, he can only eat liquid food. Make him congee, and then he can eat delicious food. It's good. Let's start working. Lin Yunxi scanned the refrigerator in the technology library with his mind, which contained a lot of ingredients. Eggs, tomatoes, potatoes, and so on are all available in case there are no ingredients for the mission or if you get tired of eating bread while traveling abroad. I didn't expect there to be delicious food here, I'm so happy. Lin Yunxi took out some rice, boiled a pot of porridge in a small pot for the man, cooked rice for himself, and fried a stir-fried tomato and scrambled eggs and spicy shredded potatoes. I'm a bit tired today, let's do it for now. After handling everything tomorrow, I'll have a big meal for myself. Lin Yunxi came to Murong Hao's bed to check on his condition after tinkering with the kitchen. As soon as he arrived, Murong Hao woke up and his stomach began to growl. Yes, he woke up from hunger. Wake up, hungry. Lin Yunxi joked at him. I just finished cooking, wait, I'll bring it over. The owner of this house doesn't know what's going on either. The main house only has a bed and no table. Lin Yunxi can only move a bench from the kitchen and place the freshly cooked food on the bench. He can only sit by Murong Hao's bed. Murong Hao looked at the food placed by the woman on the stool, then at the bowls and chopsticks holding the food. He looked puzzled and wondered what material the cup was made of, emitting a metallic luster that even the prince who grew up in the palace had never seen before. Looking at the two dishes ahead, I don't know what ingredients they are. They look very delicious. There are many secrets for this woman. Lin Yunxi didn't know what he was thinking. He picked up a bowl of white porridge and fed it to Murong Hao one mouthful at a time. Today you just had a minor surgery on your abdomen and can only eat liquid food. You can only eat anything else tomorrow when you feel better. Murong Hao looked at his white rice porridge and Lin Yunxi's food. Does this woman know that my 8-foot man can eat a bowl of congee? After drinking Lin Yunxi's congee, he turned his head hard and did not look at Lin Yunxi. Lin Yunxi looked at the seemingly angry man and said in silence, "Are you still hungry? What do you think? Do you still want to eat?" Looking at the angry expression of the 8-foot man in front of me, he really looks like a child. Forget it, why don't we just have a meal? Stop teasing him. Hee, just teasing you, you can eat whatever you want. It's not a major surgery, it won't even kill you. After speaking, she walked to the kitchen and served the man a bowl of rice. Come on, eat it. Only after eating well can you have the strength to recover. Murong Hao didn't turn his head and was clearly angry. If I don't eat anymore, I'll finish eating. I won't cook anymore. Looking at the dishes he had never seen before, coupled with his hunger, Murong Hao obediently turned his head to wait for Lin Yunxi to feed him. When he ate a piece of stir-fried tomato and scrambled eggs, it was so delicious that he asked, "What is this?" Lin Yunxi was shocked. Have you ever eaten stir-fried tomato and scrambled eggs? No. Lin Yunxi was speechless, she needed to remain calm and composed, looking at the man in front of her with a questioning expression on her face. Do you have any eggs here? Yes, but what ingredient is the red one with the egg, and how did the egg cook so delicious? This is the longest sentence he has ever said since getting along with Murong Hao. Tomatoes, don't you have any tomatoes here? No, the man replied. Scrambled eggs, don't know how to scramble eggs. What is stir-frying? Haha. Developed, don't you have stir-fried dishes here? Upon hearing this, Lin Yunxi roughly understood what was going on. It seems that she is going to get rich. No, we only have grilling and cooking, there's no other way. This stir-fry is not difficult to say. When you're done, I'll teach you. This is a good way to make money. I'll cure you and get rich, but I can't let you learn. After tasting stir-fried tomato and scrambled eggs, Lin Yunxi added another spicy shredded potato to Murong Hao. As soon as he put it in his mouth, a stream of hot water flowed in his mouth. Ah! Water, water! Murong Hao suddenly blushed and looked frightened. Lin Yunxi quickly handed him a cup of water and asked him to slow down. Be careful, don't be in such a big battle. The wound suddenly opened up. Normally, you just had a minor surgery and shouldn't have eaten spicy food. However, for your curiosity, it would be good to give you a try. What's this? He kept asking like a curious baby. This is called spicy potato shreds. Potatoes are a type of food and can also be used for cooking. When stir-fried with them, it's chili peppers. At first, I'm not used to eating this chili peppers, but after getting used to it, it becomes very satisfying. If I don't eat it for a day, I feel powerless. Murong Hao looked at the spicy potato shreds again and felt that the spiciness in his mouth was not as strong. He said, "Another piece." Lin Yunxi looked at his curious expression and fed him a sandwich of spicy potato shreds. This time he was mentally prepared and could feel the taste of the food very well. Indeed, as the woman said, taking a bite was very satisfying and he wanted to keep eating. You should eat less spicy food, more stir-fried tomato and scrambled eggs and more protein, which is good for your wound healing. Not long after, both of them finished their meals. Murong Hao had eaten 2 bowls of rice for this meal. When he wanted a third bowl, he was rejected by Lin Yunxi, saying that he had just undergone a minor surgery and it was better to eat less. I'm going to wash the dishes, please rest first. Just as I was about to get up, a voice came from outside the house. Chapter 5. Encountering Mountain Bandits. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A loud male voice came from outside the courtyard door. Big brother, I just saw smoke coming from the kitchen chimney in this house from afar. Someone must be cooking. How about we go see if we can grab some food? Let's go take a look, another hoarse male voice sounded. Bang! The courtyard door was kicked open. Upon hearing the sound, Murong Hao was busy getting up and looked anxiously towards the door. Lin Yunxi quickly held him down and calmly put the dishes and chopsticks that had just been packed back on the stool. I saw 6 burly men coming in, dressed in grey linen coarse shirts. The leader in front should be the leader, and a deep scar on the right face pulled from the eyes to the earlobe. Each person held a big knife, indicating that they were bandits. Hey, there's a loving couple hidden at the bottom of this deep mountain cliff. A big man said in a teasing voice. Lin Yunxi looked at Murong Hao and said, I'll handle it. Don't move, protect the wound. Oh, the man is still injured. This little lady's figure is here to play with the big men. Lin Yunxi walked out of the main house and looked coldly at the angry big men among the 6 bandits, feeling extremely angry. You're disturbing me. If you don't want to die, hurry up and leave. You have a big voice. Come and play with me if you have the ability. The bandit led by them looked at her with a narrowed expression. Just now she was in the room and didn't see her face. Now you can see the woman's face clearly. She is really a beautiful woman. Young lady, how about going back with me to be a fake lady? I'll let your husband have a way out. Even if you don't pee or look in the mirror, what kind of person do you look like? You deserve me. Upon hearing this, the bandit leader became furious and said. Damn it, if you toast, you won't be punished. I'll call you from me today. During the conversation, Lin Yunxi had already mentally prepared a non-lethal dose anesthesia dart in the technology library, intentionally putting his hand into the bag of his jeans. Are you sure you won't leave? You should know that ruining my good mood will make me very angry. Boss, don't talk nonsense to this girl. If you want to take her back to become a fake lady, we'll tie her up for you. Okay, she's a woman. Let's go together, remember not to hurt her, said the bandit leader wildly. After speaking, 6 bandits rushed towards Lin Yunxi at the same time. Murong Hao was startled and shouted loudly. Miss, be careful. I told you not to move, did you hear me? Okay. When I'm dying, I'll give you back to you. I want to make my big brother angry. Brothers, marry our big brother. A bandit rushed up while speaking. Xiao Xiang, I really want to die. It's not my fault for being impolite to you all. After speaking, Lin Yunxi flew into the encirclement of the bandits. The bandits were extremely happy when they saw the woman jump into their encirclement. Is this the rhythm of delivering the door directly? Lin Yunxi disdains fighting them. On such a hot day, he sweated all over and even stained his own hands. Taking out anesthesia darts from his pocket, he turned around and accurately stabbed the 6 people's necks with 6 anesthesia darts. You shoot a cold arrow. Did you say you can't shoot a cold arrow? Stupid. In a few seconds, 6 big men fell to the ground together. Lin Yunxi took out a rope and tied the 6 big men together, clapping his hands and coming to Murong Hao. They didn't die. Murong Hao said curiously. They're not dead, they should be bandits who like to rob. Wait until you wake up and interrogate them before deciding their life or death. How about that? Well, you decide. After speaking, Lin Yunxi turned around and went to the kitchen to clean the dishes. Just finished working in the kitchen and came out, a few bandits woke up. 6 people looked at themselves tied up, then at Lin Yunxi and Murong Hao. The man had an extraordinary demeanor, and the small crown and hairpin on his head were all made of gold. A woman is dignified and elegant, with an unattractive appearance. Remembering what had just happened, the bandit leader quickly begged for mercy. Great Xia, please spare your life, female Xia. We are bandits. My brother saw someone cooking on fire here, so we went here with our brothers to check. We don't want to see the 2 great Xia here. I just offended you so much and offended the female hero. Please spare your life, we dare not. We didn't kill or set fire, we just wanted to grab something to eat, and we didn't even grab a woman. We just saw that the female hero was beautiful and wanted you to be my suppression wife, taking good care of you. Now that we know she has a husband, I dare not. I realized my mistake, there's no next time. Lin Yunxi looked at these towering mountain bandits and said in silence. Do you still need to rob someone who is so strong? You don't know how to find food. As for the female hero, my brothers and I have been searching for food for a few days and have beaten some wild rabbits, but the more than 300 brothers in my village are not worth it. More than 300 brothers. What kind of person is there? There are so many brothers, Lin Yunxi curiously said. Do you still have so many brothers? Who are you? The bandit leader looked timidly at Lin Yunxi and replied. I am the leader of this King Shanzai. We occupy 3 mountains here, and there are over 300 brothers who have joined me. In recent years, there have been famines in various places, and we don't know how to make a living. We can only rely on hunting for a living, but hunting is not easy now. Brothers are all hungry. Lin Yunxi was speechless and even came out to rob after occupying 3 mountains, disdaining him and saying. You have occupied 3 mountains and don't know how to make money. Your brain is made of water. Upon hearing the woman's words, Murong Hao's lips curved slightly. In his brain was made of water, which was somewhat interesting. Yeah, the mountains are full of trees, I don't know how to make money. The bandit leader obediently looked at Lin Yunxi and replied. If I occupy 3 mountains, not to mention being wealthy, it's still possible to make money and make a fortune, Lin Yunxi said proudly. You should know that in modern times, there are people who can own 3 mountains, but at the landlord level, these people are also too foolish. The bandits became interested upon hearing this. What does a female hero mean? The meaning is that you are foolish, and this big boss is holding you back. How could anyone turn to you? The heroine is right, but I am loyal enough to share everything I eat with everyone. If brothers have any difficulties, I will solve them all. Let those who stutter be considered the boss. Have you married your brothers? You said it so well. Lin Yunxi said in a contemptuous tone. Well. It's really difficult to marry a wife. Men can't even eat enough. How can we marry a wife? Asked the bandit leader. Saying you're stupid, don't believe it yet. If I were the head of the family, I would guarantee that you'll get married within 2 years. Are you serious? Do you really have a way to marry my over 300 brothers? The bandit leader exclaimed excitedly. Big brother, you have taken up 3 big mountains, landlord. It's really brainwashing to talk to you. It's hard to talk to you. Such good resources are garbage in your hands. If I could make a living in my hands, she said confidently. Lin Yunxi knew that in order to get rich, having mountains was not enough. He also needed people, and mountain bandits could make use of them. Moreover, there were 300 people, which was not a small number. With these people working for her, she definitely earns money faster than she does alone. In modern times, she has taken an elective in economics, and this earning skill is really difficult for her. At this moment, Murong Hao also looked at the woman and thought, this woman is shameless. She should be able to make a fortune. With her medical skills, she can earn money everywhere. But in the past 2 years, she has married more than 300 people. Isn't this boastful? You should know that many ordinary people nowadays cannot marry a daughter. In law, but judging from her eloquent appearance, she is still quite cute. What's your name? Lin Yunxi asked as he looked at the bandit leader. Wang Dashan. Well, as the name suggests, I really match you. Lin Yunxi smiled. She looked at the bandit leader kneeling below and began to draw a big cake for him, saying. Do you want to have enough to eat? Do you want to marry a wife and live a good life? My brothers and I dream about it, but unfortunately not. Would you be willing to cooperate with me? She continued. Can the female hero really lead everyone to become rich and prosperous? Do I look like I'm lying? It's tiring talking to you. I need to take a break. Think about it. Lin Yunxi ignored Wang Dashan and deliberately gave him time to think. About a stick of incense has passed. How are you doing? Collaborating. If we cooperate, we can loosen the ties and discuss together. If we don't cooperate, we'll throw you out and you'll end up on your own. Don't disturb my quiet anymore. Female Xia, let's loosen our ties. We can talk, said Wang Dashan. Lin Yunxi took out a small knife and untied the 6 people in one go. 6 people stood up in unison, and Wang Dashan suddenly knelt down and sincerely said. Huaxia, I am the leader of Qinglong village. My brothers have been following me and have never had a good life. I have always felt guilty. Now, Huaxia says she can lead our brothers to live a good life. Today, in front of the 5 brothers, I will give up the position of the leader of the village. I hope Huaxia can lead our brothers in Qinglong village to live a good life. After speaking, Wang Dashan took it out of his sleeve. Chapter 6. Big Boss. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this moment, Wang Dashan took out a delicate dagger from his sleeve and raised his hands above his head to offer it to Lin Yunxi. Lin Yunxi took the dagger and saw that the scabbard of the dagger was carved with the shape of a divine beast in metal, vivid and lifelike. She pulled out the dagger and the blade inside caught a cold light, revealing its sharp edge. Lin Yunxi was surprised. The bandit still had something like this in his hand and asked, "What is this?" Returning to the Grand Master, "This is a token that only the leader of our Qingshan village has. It was given to me by the previous leader before his death. Today, I offer the token to the Grand Master, but I voluntarily abdicate and make you the leader of our Qingshan village. Please do not refuse, Grand Master." Lin Yunxi was in a daze for a moment, and she wanted to take advantage of this person. Now, she has given the big boss to herself. Is it too easy to deceive? But just thinking about them not having enough to eat, I understand. It's really stressful to take so many people with you even when you can't eat enough. Lin Yunxi looked at Murong Hao and wanted to ask for his opinion. After all, she was only getting dressed for the first day and didn't know what was going on afterwards. She had to lead so many people, which was a responsibility. She looked at Murong Hao and asked him in a warm voice. How about you become the big boss? Murong Hao said, they are for you. If you say you want to marry someone, you deserve it. I have my own people, so I can't be busy. Murong Hao doesn't want to be a big boss. He still has a large number of soldiers to take charge of, so he doesn't have time to manage these bandits. If this woman can manage these bandits well, the public security near the capital will also be good. Lin Yunxi looked at Wang Dashan's eager gaze and thought that everyone was not easy. They wanted to have enough to eat, and they wanted to get rich. This was a good deal, so they agreed. Okay, I'll take over this big boss, but you should listen to my orders and I'll take you on a good day. The other 5 bandits looked at their leader like this, and then heard Lin Yunxi's answer. They all knelt down in unison. Pay respects to the great leader, we pledge to serve him to the death. Don't die, it's not that serious. It's just about getting rich and living a good life for everyone. You all get up, there's no need to salute here, we're all brothers, she smiled. Okay, listen to the big shots. Lin Yunxi looked at Wang Dashan and suddenly asked, Wang Dashan, are there any tables, chairs, and beds in the village? When we go back to the big boss's house, there are tables and chairs, but the bed is gone. Many of our brothers are sleeping on grass mats underground. Lin Yunxi heard that someone was still sleeping on a straw mat and said sincerely and speechlessly. Wang Dashan, are you sure you are the leader of the mountain stronghold, not the leader of the beggars sect? Do your brothers still sleep on grass mats? If we go back to the big boss's house, we won't be able to eat enough now. There's no money to buy a bed. Many brothers come from nearby towns to join me. This mountain full of big trees, ready-made wood, you don't know how to make it yourself. Lin Yunxi continued speechlessly. Wang Dashan lowered his head and whispered, returning to the head of the household, we really don't know how to do it. Sleeping on grass mats is also convenient, and it's cool in the big summer. Lin Yunxi looked at Wang Dashan speechlessly and finally understood that this stronghold was just a beggar's shelter. His task was heavy and the road ahead was long. Alright, why don't you go to the village and get a table and 2 chairs first? I don't have a table here to eat inside. Do you also have a handcart? Go back to the big boss's house, all of these are available. I'll send someone back to bring them over immediately. By the way, how can you communicate with each other at a long distance, such as signal flares or sounds, so that I can also get in touch with you? Upon hearing Lin Yunxi's question, Wang Dashan took out a fine bamboo whistle from his sleeve and gave it to her. Boss, try this one. It's new. Don't worry, give it a try. Lin Yunxi took the whistle and blew it in his hand. The voice was gentle and clear, as ethereal as a fairy voice from outside the sky. This whistle is good, did you make it yourself? Well, it was the old village bishop we did, but unfortunately he's not here, otherwise our village wouldn't have become so desolate. Speaking of this old village leader, Lin Yunxi is quite curious. Everything that comes from his hands is so exquisite. What kind of person is he? But now is really not the time to find this answer. She wants to survive in this era, and the most tricky problem now is finding food. The food in her technology library refrigerator can't last for a few days, she doesn't have gold or silver with her, and the money in her bank card can't be used here. It's really troublesome. Alright, you guys go back and get your things. Wang Dashan, leave 2 people in my yard to help take care of my patients. I need to go out and look for food. If there's an urgent matter, whistle and contact me. Okay, big boss. Let's go find something to eat with you. Leave the two brothers in the yard and the others go back to the village to get what the big boss wants. How about that? Sure, you're the second in charge, you're in charge of small matters. After completing the division of labor, Lin Yunxi walked to Murong Hao's bed and poked his forehead with the back of his hand, saying to him. Well, you're not feverish now. I'll go find something to eat and sleep well. There are two brothers watching you, and I'll be back soon. Murong Hao looked at the woman's sweaty cheeks and felt really sorry for her. He saved himself and took care of himself so carefully. A hint of emotion swept through his heart and he replied. Go ahead, be careful yourself. Listening to the conversation of mutual concern between the two, Wang Dashan smiled and said. The head of the household really cares about his husband, and even if he walks for a while, he must be so careful. The head of the household's husband is truly blessed. What are you talking about? I'm a doctor, he's my patient. Don't talk about things you don't know, have you heard me? Oh, okay, big boss, whatever you say, my subordinates will listen to you. Wang Dashan thought to himself, it's not that the couple is giving back to each other, sleeping in the same room and bed. The big boss, who is this deceiving? I, Wang Dashan, am not foolish. After speaking, everyone went to work on their own tasks. Lin Yunxi walked out of the yard with some prepared tools and Wang Dashan towards the forest. She wanted to quickly and efficiently find food, so she used her mind to open an infrared scanner in the technology library, so that she could quickly find the location of living animals. This instrument can only be seen by herself, not by others. With the help of an infrared scanner, Lin Yunxi immediately found a rabbit's nest and asked Wang Dashan to guard a hole on one side while setting fire to another rabbit's nest. In no time, the rabbits in a rabbit's nest couldn't bear the threat of thick smoke and ran to the cave entrance guarded by Wang Dashan. Wang Dashan prepared a burlap bag in his hand, loaded the rabbits that jumped out one by one, and counted them, totaling 20. With just one move, there were 20 rabbits. Wang Dashan looked at Lin Yunxi with surprised eyes and exclaimed. Master, your rabbit hunting method is amazing. You have taken care of a litter of rabbits, truly deserving of the title of master. I promise you can have some food, don't worry, this is just the beginning. Well, I believe in the big shots. Let's go, stop fussing, we need to find more food. So the two of them walked forward, and Lin Yunxi's infrared scanner kept turning on. Suddenly, the infrared scanner sounded an alarm. Dee-dee dee-dee. Dee-dee dee-dee. There are large dangerous creatures ahead, please be careful to avoid them. As the two of them approached, the alarm sounded louder and louder. They pushed aside a thicket and saw. Chapter 7. Found Food. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When they cleared a thicket, they saw hundreds of wild boars foraging in the forest by a mountain wall. The large quantity made the two of them not calm down. Lin Yunxi said, Wang Dashan, didn't you say you can't find anything to eat in this mountain? You can't even find so many wild boars. De Dongjia, this forest is so big and deep that we have been searching for many days but haven't found it. It's really strange that De Dongjia found it all the way. Lin Yunxi thought for a moment, but there was nothing strange about it. It should have been luck combined with the help of an infrared scanner. Without further ado, let's start by hunting a dozen or so heads. Forget it, let's hunt a dozen or so first. Today, let's solve everyone's meat-eating problem. What should the leader do? There's no arrow, but I have a knife, I'll go. Are you stupid? Are you a match for hundreds of wild boars? Just stay on the side, I'll do it, don't make a sound. After speaking, Lin Yunxi avoided Wang Dashan's gaze and used his mind to prepare an anesthetic from the technology library, pretending to put it in the small sack he brought with him. Take out the apples from the technology library from the small burlap bag and hand them to Wang Dashan. Divide these apples into 4 parts and throw them in front of the bushes in front of us. Just lead a dozen or so of them over. Once they come over, I'll take action. Yes, big shot. Wang Dashan answered while working. In no time, the apples placed in front of the bushes attracted more than 10 wild boars. Lin Yunxi looked at the center of the pig herd and didn't notice this side. This was the best time. She picked up the anesthesia needle, brushed it. More than 10 anesthesia needles accurately shot into the neck of those wild boars. In less than a few minutes, more than 10 wild boars fell one after another. Quietly drag them out, we can't let the wild boar herd discover them. Okay. So the two of them dug open a big hole in the bushes in front of them, used all their strength, and pulled 18 wild boars out of the bushes. Then he quietly blocked the opening of the bushes. Hurry up, contact the brothers and bring a cart to pull the wild boar back. Wang Dashan listened and blew his little whistle. In no time, the 5 tall brothers pulled 5 trailers up to them. Looking at the pile of wild boars on the ground, the brothers' chins were almost startled. They also hunt on weekdays and are lucky enough to hunt 1 or 2 heads, but they have never hunted more than 10 heads. What are you still waiting for? Quickly lift the wild boar onto the car and bring it to my yard. Wang Dashan and I will go back and distribute it. We also need to find some vegetables and other food. After giving orders, Lin Yunxi led Wang Dashan in another direction. The infrared scanner in the technology library is always on, so that the required food can be efficiently found. This time, Lin Yunxi set up plant biology settings. In no time, the scanner discovered many non-toxic and edible plants, with a plethora of information prompts and a wide variety. They picked wild vegetables, mushrooms, and fruits all the way, and in no time, their burlap bags were full. Lin Yunxi didn't want to carry such a heavy sack and asked Wang Dashan. How about we call a few more brothers to bring a cart over? It's too heavy. Master, let me do it. I can still carry these 2 burlap bags. After speaking, he lifted the large burlap bag in Lin Yunxi's hand onto his own shoulder, and casually carried another burlap bag onto the other shoulder. Indeed, he is a strong warrior, capable of carrying such a heavy load. Hee, big boss. Although I don't have a big boss who would look for food, I have a lot of strength. In the future, these heavy tasks will come to me. Okay, but in the future, if you have a car, you can still use it and save yourself some effort. Well, listen to the big shots. Okay, let's go back. That's it for today. We should have enough to eat. Okay. The two found a lot of food and chatted happily as they walked back. On the way, seeing a wild chicken running ahead, Lin Yunxi flew over with an anesthetic needle and the chicken fell to the ground. Give this chicken to my patient. He just finished the surgery, give him a good rest. The husband in charge of the household is truly happy. He cares so much about him like your wife. They all say no, it's my patient. Okay, it's a patient from the big boss. Wang Dashan laughed mischievously. The two of them returned to the yard and saw that everyone in the yard was looking at the food on the ground with surprised eyes. 20 rabbits, 18 wild boars, and looking at the 2 burlap bags of vegetables on Wang Dashan's shoulder. At this moment, Murong Hao also woke up, and seeing all of this, he was also shocked. A brother who had been taking care of Murong Hao in the room couldn't calm down anymore and asked. Wang Dashan, did you go to rob with the big boss? What kind of robbery? Don't talk nonsense. These are all hunted by the big boss. You don't know how powerful the big boss is. As soon as he was happy, Wang Dashan recounted the process of finding food for a leader who was just like this god, in detail. Our big boss is really a fairy descending to earth. We searched for food for several months, and the big boss could find it in less than half an hour. At this moment, Murong Hao also looked at the woman covered in dust. This woman said she could take everyone to eat, and she really did it. In a short while, even during the royal hunting ground competition before, she couldn't have hunted so many. She was really skilled. Upon hearing everyone praise her, Lin Yunxi felt a bit uncomfortable and ordered. Alright, don't praise me anymore. Let's start distributing food now. I'll keep 1 wild boar, 5 rabbits, and half a pack of vegetables. I'll leave this wild chicken for my patient, you can take the rest back to the village with a trailer and share them. I don't know the appetite of my brothers either. If we can finish it today, we'll eat it all. If we can't finish it, we'll keep a few heads to feed. I still have patients here, so I won't go to the village to see other brothers today. Wang Dashan, you can go back to the village today and make arrangements. Only when you are in charge can you divide your own pig, it's too little. We're just the 2 of us. If we can't finish eating in this weather, it will spoil. Now we know where to eat, and we're not afraid in the future. You bring a few more people over tomorrow, and I'll take you to make money. Okay, listen to the leader. Thank you to the leader. We will never forget your great kindness. After speaking, Wang Dashan was about to kneel down, but Lin Yunxi quickly stopped him. Let's go, the brothers in the village are still hungry. Okay, don't disturb the leader and husband anymore, but thank you all the same. After finishing speaking, a group of people pushed 5 carts of food back to the village. After dismissing these people, Lin Yunxi also began to get busy, killing pigs, rabbits, and wild chickens in the yard, and washing all the vegetables twice. Busily shuttling between the kitchen and yard. Murong Hao lay in bed and watched her busy figure. The petite woman was killing pigs with her hands full of knives, and those who didn't know thought she was a professional pig killer. She was so efficient and fast in everything she did, and in no time, plates of steaming dishes were ready. Just as it was getting dark, Lin Yunxi took out his own orchid incense candle from the technology library and lit it. For a moment, the fragrance of orchids filled the entire room, making people feel relaxed. Then she served a few dishes and placed them on the table she had obtained from Wang Dashan. These dishes included boiled pork slices, stir-fried kidney, braised rabbit meat, mushroom and chicken soup, and stir-fried wild vegetables. Looking at the woman sweating profusely, the clothes on her chest were a bit wet. Murong Hao expressed gratitude. Thank you for your hard work. Oh, it's okay. I want to eat something good myself, and by the way, I'll take you with me. By the way, you just finished your surgery. Eating more chicken and drinking chicken soup is beneficial for wound recovery. After finishing speaking, Lin Yunxi gave Murong Hao a bowl of chicken soup and asked. Can you eat it yourself? No, I'll feed you. Murong Hao tried to lift his hand and with just one movement, he pulled the wound on his chest, causing a sudden burst of cold sweat. Looking at him with a slight change in expression, Lin Yunxi couldn't bear it either. I'll come, what do you want to eat? Tell me, I'll feed you. Thank you very much. Speaking, Lin Yunxi gave Murong Hao a mouthful of chicken soup. When Murong Hao tasted this chicken soup, his expression lit up instantly. Chapter 8. Heating. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After eating her stir-fried tomato and scrambled eggs and spicy shredded potatoes at noon, I knew that she was good at cooking. I never thought that the chicken soup made by this woman could be so delicious. The soup was mixed with the delicious smell of mushrooms and chicken. Every mouthful of it warmed my heart. After tasting the other dishes of the woman, Murong Hao suspected that the chefs in his palace were all sending him as the master. He had to go back and beat them well. After Murong Hao finished eating, Lin Yunxi wiped his mouth with the paper he had prepared on the side. He looked at the tissue in her hand, white as jade and soft as silk. How could this woman wipe her mouth with such high-quality paper? Throw it in the nearby trash can after using it. This kind of paper has never been seen in the Dongsheng Kingdom or even in the other 4 countries. Where exactly is she from? Lin Yunxi didn't know his thoughts. After feeding the patient, she wanted to let go of her stomach and have a good meal. On the first day of traveling, she encountered so many things that she was really tired and hungry. She ate her food in large gulps, while picking up the food and delivering it to her mouth. The warm and delicious food at this moment could make her forget the discomfort she had experienced. You know, only food can live up to it. She didn't notice that Murong Hao beside her had been staring at her. This woman was eating like a man, and there was no such thing as a small and elegant woman. When a woman ate one grain at a time, she ate 2 bowls of rice in one go, and all the dishes in front of her were swept away. But for some reason, this woman's eating habits were so cute in his eyes. After finishing, Lin Yunxi didn't hesitate either. He quickly tidied up the table and kitchen, put all the remaining meat in the refrigerator of the technology library, and finally took the garbage out of the yard to dispose of. Returning to the main house, Lin Yunxi was feeling extremely hot. He looked at Murong Hao and asked, "Isn't it too hot, handsome guy? Aren't you wearing long sleeves too hot?" "It's okay, it's acceptable." "Alright, you won. I'm getting so hot. Also, we've been together all day, and I don't know your name yet. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Lin Yunxi, and your name is Respected." Murong Hao looked at Lin Yunxi and didn't answer. She came up with the answer. "This man is either a noble or a martial arts bully. Forget it, I don't know his name, so I shouldn't be so dangerous." So he said again. "Forget it, adults have secrets, why don't we call you handsome?" "You've been calling me handsome all day, what does handsome mean?" "Handsome means handsome and free-spirited, with a face like a crown of jade and a dignified appearance. Speaking of people, it means good-looking." "Well, yes, just call him handsome." Murong Hao's lips slightly curved as he heard the woman praise him like this. Looking at the smiling man, Lin Yunxi was speechless. He was so handsome and had the same face as Dr. Li. In modern times, Dr. Li could attract peach blossoms. The beautiful women rushed up one by one, but he didn't see who he liked. "Okay, let's call you handsome. I took a shower and it was so hot that I realized now that air conditioning is the greatest invention in the world," she said helplessly. After speaking, he went to the well in the yard to fetch 2 large buckets of water and went to the bathroom. Not long after, I saw her wearing a water blue silk nightgown, holding a towel in both hands to wipe the water off her black hair, like a lotus blooming from the water. Her slender and jade-like limbs were exposed outside the skirt. Murong Hao looked at her, his eyes wide open, and his face turned red in an instant. He turned his head and dared not look at her. Lin Yunxi noticed his unusual behavior, looked at himself again, and suddenly understood that in ancient times, wearing clothes could not reveal limbs. "Sorry, it's too hot here. I've been busy all day and need to cool down. I don't have any clothes here, so just don't look at them. I'll go to the yard to wipe my hair. You can go to bed first." Lin Yunxi had no choice but to walk to the stone table in the yard and sit down, wiping his hair while looking at the starry sky tonight. "It has been a day since I traveled here, encountering many chaotic things and accidentally taking in a fake person." At this time, Lin Yunxi's mood was very chaotic, not knowing why he came here, why he encountered these people and things, feeling a bit low. He muttered to himself. "Dr. Li, can you tell me why I didn't die, why I came to this place, can I still go home, can you help me? I miss my home, I miss my grandmother and younger brother. I know you may not be able to answer my question, but can you help me? As you said, if I have any difficulties, you can help me. Promise to take me home." Okay, although Lin Yunxi has encountered many difficult tasks in modern times, she has never been afraid. This is the first time she has been so homesick, so powerless, so helpless. 2 lines of tears fell silently. Murong Hao was not asleep at this moment. Years of practicing martial arts had honed his exceptional ear power. He heard Lin Yunxi's self-talk and also heard her slight choking sound. Looking at a woman who was completely different from the day, he felt a slight shock in his heart. It turned out that beneath her powerful appearance, there was also a fragile heart. He was very tired today and didn't think much. Gradually, he fell asleep. After tidying up everything, Lin Yunxi was also tired and got into bed. Before going to bed, I didn't forget to check Murong Hao's condition and touched his forehead. As expected, he had a fever and was still very hot. He only took the poison today and cannot use antipyretic drugs. He can only physically cool down. Abandoning the idea of sleeping, Lin Yunxi went to the kitchen and brought a basin of warm water, ready to use a towel to physically cool Murong Hao down. At this moment, Murong Hao was sweating all over and his clothes were getting wet. It seems that you can't wear this outfit anymore, you need to change, Lin Yunxi muttered to himself. Lin Yunxi took out the previously prepared hospital uniforms from the technology library, which were for both men and women. She often took on medical tasks. At first, many patients did not have clothes to change due to conditions, but later she kept many hospital uniforms in the technology library, where she could change patients into clean clothes anytime and anywhere. You're so lucky to have met me. Looking at the man who was unconscious and still burning all over, she still felt soft-hearted. Let's reduce your fever. Lin Yunxi took out a silver needle and stabbed Murong Hao's head a few times. I don't want to wake you up while I'm changing clothes and physically cooling you down. After speaking, Lin Yunxi helped Murong Hao up, leaned his back against the edge of the bed, and took off his middle coat. Wet him with a towel, wring it half dry, and gently wipe his body. When she saw countless scars, big and small, on his back and body, her heart trembled. What exactly has this man gone through? There are so many scars, old and new, some of which should have been left behind many years ago. Hey, he's also a pitiful person. Isn't his injuries painful? He should be living very tired, right? Lin Yunxi muttered to himself. After wiping his entire body, Lin Yunxi helped Murong Hao change all his clothes and gently covered the man with a thin blanket from the technology library. Touching his head, it didn't seem as hot anymore. Pulling out the silver needle, the work was completed. After tinkering all day, I was really tired and gradually fell asleep. Chapter 9. Gold and Silver Pavilion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the throne of the Gold and Silver Pavilion, the pavilion master Lin Yunxi was dressed in a black brocade robe, tall and handsome with beautiful features. His eyes were twinkling with cold stars, and his folding fan swayed, making it difficult to conceal his noble demeanor. Today he welcomed a distinguished guest. A person wearing a black long shirt with a beautiful golden thread at the cuffs, a dark green jade belt at the waist, black hair and eyes, a handsome face, wearing a half-silver mask, but the mask cannot conceal his supernatural beauty. His brows are full of domineering power, and his deep eyes are like an evil bottomless abyss. After entering the main hall of the Gold and Silver Pavilion, the man saw Lin Yunxi and asked, "How about it, has Murong Hao died? All the assassins we sent were killed back this time. It's unclear who did it now. It's really ridiculous. Have you ever made mistakes in the Gold and Silver Pavilion?" The masked man looked contemptuously at Lin Yunxi. Don't worry, according to the report from his subordinates, Murong Hao has been poisoned by our 7-day powder. No matter how capable he is, he cannot detoxify it. Without an antidote, this poison will explode and die within 7 days. Lin Yunxi said confidently. I live to see people, die to see corpses, otherwise you won't get your 10,000 taels of gold. We are currently conducting a large-scale search for Murong Hao, and we should have results for you in the next few days. Lin Yunxi looked at the masked man and seemed to have something to say. The masked man first spoke up and said, "Is there anything else? Why do you have to kill Murong Hao? He is the famous prince of the war god of Dongsheng Kingdom. Who are you? When did you end up with him? This is not something you can ask, do what you need to do." The masked man didn't speak to Lin Yunxi anymore and walked out of the Gold and Silver Pavilion. He didn't want these people to know that just 2 months ago, in the battle between Murong Hao at the border of Dongsheng and the western regions, Murong Hao defeated his 180,000 troops with 70,000 troops and used the method of secretly crossing the Qinsang. When fighting Murong Hao alone, Murong Hao unexpectedly broke his left little finger, causing him to return to the imperial palace of the western regions. He was scolded by the emperor's father and forced to surrender military power. After losing military power, one can fight again. Without a little finger, how can the western regions accept such an emperor in the future? If he wants to fight for that position again, he will lose his previous confidence. So he hated Murong Hao for dying right in front of him. Unfortunately, whether in battle or martial arts, he is not a match for Murong Hao. So he found the assassin organization of the Dongsheng Kingdom, the Gold and Silver Pavilion. It is said that since its establishment, the Gold and Silver Pavilion has not failed various missions. If Murong Hao can be solved, it will not only avenge the severed finger, but also cut off one arm of the Dongsheng Kingdom, which will be of great benefit to the western regions. I want to see how Murong Hao died this time. After speaking, the masked man disappeared into the crowd and mixed into the streets of Dongsheng Kingdom. At this time, in the imperial palace of Dongsheng Kingdom, Emperor Murong Yuan heard reports that the 8th Prince Murong Hao was ambushed on his way back from the military camp and his whereabouts are still unknown. The emperor looked at Murong Hao kneeling in front of the palace and asked, what was the situation at that time? To report to the emperor, at that time, His Highness 8 led us 4 Tianzi secret guards on horseback to rush towards the city. About 40 black-clothed men appeared on the way, and the leader of the black-clothed men suddenly sprinkled a bag of medicinal powder forward. I don't know what it was. His Highness 8 didn't pay attention for a moment and inhaled the medicine powder. We kept protecting His Highness, but there were too many of them and in a panic, we got separated from His Highness. Did you look for it? The Emperor asked nervously. Returning to the Emperor, we jumped out of the enemy's encirclement and searched everywhere for His Highness Ba. We searched for a day and a night but couldn't find him. Tianyi answered anxiously. You are the best secret guards I have given to the 8th Prince. You can't even solve those black-clothed people. Who are they? The opponent's skills are all very high, and their martial arts moves are very unique. At present, we are not sure which side's hands they are from. Let me investigate. Even if you dig 3 feet deep, you need to find Hao's whereabouts. If you live, you must see a person, if you die, you must see a corpse. I will send more people to help you find it. If you find it, you must take Hao back. The disappearance of His Royal Highness must be strictly kept confidential. If any information is exposed, you can bring your head up and meet him. Yes, I'll do it right away. Tianyi dared not look at the Emperor and bowed to him before retreating. At this moment, the Emperor was lost in thought. The current princes have all grown up, and the position of Crown Prince is still vacant. Among many princes, the 8th Prince has outstanding military achievements, is calm in his work, and is talented. Although he is not the legitimate son, he is a precious gem in his heart. 2 months ago, he had just defeated the western regions and returned to Beijing. He was still thinking of arranging a marriage for him in the absence of war, but he never thought of such a thing. Emperor. I hope the 8th son can turn danger into safety this time. In the harem, Empress Rong asked Liang Mama beside her. Liang Mama, the day before yesterday Hao said she came to pay respects to our palace today. Why haven't she come so late today? If you go back to Empress Dowager, is your Highness 8 busy today, causing a delay? Hao has never broken her promise. Is there anything wrong? Yesterday, the Nippon Palace was restless all day. Madam, you are overthinking. Your Highness, the 8th Prince, is wise and martial. He has been exceptionally intelligent since childhood and has many hidden guards to protect him. There won't be anything wrong with him. Perhaps something has delayed him. It's not that this palace is overthinking it. Since entering the military camp, Hao has been stationed at the border all year round and has been fighting all day long. He can't accompany this palace often. When asked to return to the capital and stay in the capital, he refuses to say anything. He doesn't look like a prince. It's rare for me to come back to Beijing this time and just want to see him more. I also want to arrange a marriage for him. He's not young, and there should be someone who knows his warmth and coldness by his side. There won't be any regrets in this palace, Empress. Look at what you're saying. I don't know how many women in the capital like our 8th prince. Don't worry, Empress. When your prince comes back, you can handle the marriage for him well. He had agreed with our palace the day before yesterday, but he came to pay his respects today. No, our palace is going to ask his father, the emperor, to see what Hao is busy with. At noon, Empress Rong estimated that the emperor had gone to court and instructed the servants in the imperial kitchen to prepare several dishes that the emperor loved and arrived at the Yangqing Hall. My concubine pays respects to the emperor. Empress Rong bowed to the emperor. Empress Ai, you don't need to be too polite. She brought me lunch. Come and have dinner together. Rong Guifei and the emperor had lunch together, but they soon ran out. Empress Rong, knowing that the emperor was busy, quickly asked the emperor. Your Majesty, the day before yesterday Hao and my concubines said they would come to pay their respects today, but they did not come today. Do you know what Hao has to do? The emperor was shocked when he heard these words, but he still replied with a calm expression. Yesterday I had an urgent matter to send him out of the city to handle. He should have forgotten your previous agreement. When he comes back, I will ask him to greet you. Well, thank you very much, Your Majesty. Knowing that Your Majesty will be busy with national affairs, I will leave first. As she walked out of the Yangqing Hall, Empress Rong could see the clues. If the emperor sent Hao to handle matters, Hao would definitely send someone to inform her in advance that this mother consort could not pay her respects. This time, something should have happened. Qianqing, come out. Rong Guifei exclaimed urgently. A dark guard appeared in front of Rong Guifei in an instant. Go and check the whereabouts of His Highness Ba for me. No one can know. Report any news as soon as possible. Yes. With a single sound, Qianqing disappeared into the palace. Chapter 10. A bed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next morning, the sun was shining brightly, and a ray of sunlight fell through the hollow flower window on Murong Hao's forehead. Upon waking up, Murong Hao felt relaxed all over, and the severe pain from yesterday's wound had eased significantly. Turning his head slightly, he saw Lin Yunxi on the inside of the bed, his face facing his side, with one foot still resting on his thigh. The woman was still as beautiful as before when she was asleep, with delicate skin that was as soft as jade. Her beautiful little mouth was spotless red and alluring, with 2 strands of hair hanging down from her cheeks. She was dressed in unknown clothing, and her neck and arms were exposed. Many women in Dongsheng Kingdom want to climb his bed, and today this woman is considered successful. Thinking of this, Murong Hao's lips slightly raised, and for some reason, his mood inexplicably relaxed. At that moment, Lin Yunxi woke up, opened his eyes, and looked in surprise at Murong Hao, who had been staring at her. Why are you looking at me like this? Don't misunderstand, it's not what you think, it's not some kind of bed climbing, don't worry, I won't crawl onto the patient's bed. I just don't have a place to sleep. I temporarily slept next to you last night, and you also had a fever last night. After speaking, Lin Yunxi quickly sat up. Murong Hao ignored her words and knew she wouldn't act recklessly. But when he raised his hand and saw a peculiar outfit on him, he began to lose composure. What did you do to me last night? Listening to his seemingly angry tone, she chuckled and said. I helped you physically cool down and change clothes. Murong Hao looked at his pants again and changed them. His face darkened, and he even said that he wasn't climbing the bed. She had seen through his entire body. What is physical cooling? Murong Hao asked angrily. I just wiped it on you with warm water. Lin Yunxi's answer became louder and louder. She knew that in ancient times, they probably couldn't accept this. I wiped my whole body once, why didn't I wake up? Lin Yunxi. Xiao Xiang, I am a doctor. It's not a trivial matter for me to ask the patient not to wake up. Oh, you should have lost consciousness after getting a fever. You. Murong Hao looked at her with angry eyes. I'm trying to save you, don't worry, I'm not that shameless. If you want to climb the bed, you have to feel refreshed when you're conscious, right? No shame. Alright, it's just helping change clothes. Don't worry, we haven't done anything. I'm still a woman, and if I have to suffer, it should be me, right? Murong Hao became angry when he heard this woman speak. It's okay if he didn't speak, but speaking made him half angry. I'm hungry, I'll make breakfast. After finishing speaking, I went to the bathroom to freshen up, then walked to the kitchen and opened the technology library with my mind. The technology library is really good. The electricity inside hasn't been cut off yet, the things in the refrigerator are not broken, and there are also things you like to eat inside. So she took out the meat buns that her grandmother had made for her before from the refrigerator, and she kept them frozen in the refrigerator. She took them out and steamed them for a while to take care of. Take out the sesame paste again, stir it with water casually, and the hot breakfast is ready. Bringing breakfast to their room, Lin Yunxi wanted to laugh when she saw him still studying his clothes. Come on, stop getting angry and have breakfast. Lin Yunxi. This patient still needs to be taken good care of. Who would say that Lin Yunxi is a good doctor who respects patients? Murong Hao's eyes lit up as he looked at the breakfast she brought, which he had never seen before, including steamed buns and sesame paste. Lin Yunxi. It seems like he's a foodie, so he won't get angry immediately. What are these? The black one is called sesame paste, and the white one is called meat bun. Try it quickly. Before she could finish her introduction, Lin Yunxi gave Murong Hao a bite of meat buns with one hand and a bite of sesame paste with the other hand, holding a spoon. Sure enough, this woman has these messy delicacies. Murong Hao ate breakfast with a satisfied and puzzled expression on her face, seeing that she too had an appetite. After feeding Murong Hao, she started eating big mouthfuls. It was still her grandmother's skill that she could eat 3 meat buns with big fists in one go. Just as Lin Yunxi had finished breakfast, packed up, and changed into long pants and sleeves, Wang Dashan came over with a few brothers. Big boss, good morning. I brought a few more brothers over today. Big boss doesn't know. Yesterday we brought food back to the village, and everyone was so happy. They all said they wanted to meet Big Boss. Wang Dashan saw Lin Yunxi from a distance and happily recounted the scene of everyone eating meat in the village last night. I still have patients to take care of recently. You go back and tell everyone. When my patients recover, I will go back and see them. After speaking, she walked up to Murong Hao's bed again, took out the prepared hanging pin, and earnestly reminded him. I'll get another anti-inflammatory injection today, so I shouldn't get a fever easily. I have to go out again today, so you still need to rest well and protect your wound. I'll come back at noon to give you medicine and detoxification pills. Watching her care for him so much, Murong Hao felt warm in his heart and nodded. Lin Yunxi instructed 2 brothers to take care of Murong Hao and taught them how to pull out a needle before taking Wang Dashan and his group away. It was still the place where wild boars roamed yesterday. Lin Yunxi followed yesterday's method and this time he shot 20 wild boars, 30 wild rabbits, 30 wild chickens, as well as many wild vegetables and mushrooms. After about an hour, a group of people pushed the trailer back into the yard in a grand manner. The few people in the room still looked at Lin Yunxi as if they were gods. It's amazing to find so much food in such a short time. Lin Yunxi looked at so many spoils of war and was extremely happy. He didn't expect this mountain to receive so much food for free. It's really a treasure mountain. She began to distribute these things and spoke. These wild boars, rabbits, and chickens cannot all be killed. Leave half of them for breeding, and there will be no need to hunt every day in the future. I just need 2 wild chickens. You can take the rest back to the village to eat. Wang Dashan heard from the leader that as long as there are only 2 wild chickens, he won't be calm anymore. Master, these are all what you hunted, why do you need 2? We're just 2 people, and the wild chicken is also for my patients to eat. Yesterday's pig hasn't finished yet. By the way, is there any village nearby? Wang Dashan, I have a task for you. When Wang Dashan heard of a task, he happily replied. There is a big boss, not far from here is Fengjing town, which is close to the capital city of Shangjing and very lively. What orders does the big boss have? Upon hearing from Wang Dashan that there were villages and towns nearby, she felt relieved and ordered. I want you to kill 1 or 2 wild boars and sell them in the town. You can buy some grain and bring it back. I don't know if there is any grain in the village, but I don't have much left. Also, my patient and I need to change into 2 different outfits. Please take a look and help us buy 2 outfits. We don't need anything too good, as long as it can be worn. I'm good at being a big boss, slaughtering pigs, selling meat and buying grain. I don't know what the big boss likes when it comes to buying clothes. I don't have a wife yet, I don't know what the girl's family likes. Just ask the shopkeeper what colors and styles are popular lately. You don't need anything that looks good. I have a patient who can't leave him for too long, so you can buy it casually. If it doesn't look good, I won't blame you, she said slowly. Okay, as long as the big boss says this, we'll go and handle it right away. It should be ready by noon. Well, then hurry up and get busy. Upon hearing their conversation, Murong Hao realized that this woman, as a doctor, was truly dedicated, not careless at all, always thinking for herself. What he did not know was that when Lin Yunxi looked at his identical face with Dr. Li, he had always wondered why there were people who looked exactly the same in the world and were still in different times. Thinking of her and Dr. Li, from childhood to adulthood, they both lived in the same yard. Dr. Li took good care of her, especially after her parents passed away. Dr. Li doted on her like his sister. Looking at the man in front of her again, she felt an extra love in her heart, perhaps a hint of comfort in this unfamiliar world.